Times of Triumph won you the game? I literally just won that game with 2 less cards in my hand. Like, this card is so ass. I don't know why everyone likes these like late game cards that just do nothing. Like, they're good when they don't do nothing, but they do nothing a lot. So Bronze Legionnaire has the best play into this melee creep if we're fighting for this lane. Sometimes we curve, but I don't think we care when we do. Rising Anger is a little chunky here. I mean, I guess we use it on Legion. Axe is the better target for Rising Anger, but I'd rather do something that's hitting face than not dying next turn, which means we're just passing left because we're Rising mid and Bronze Legionnaire right. And this is how you always have to think about. Like, a deck like Mono Red, like most just kind of normal mid-range decks, just zoom out, plan out how you're going to spend all your tools at the start of each round. Bonus points for thinking ahead more than one round. But you have to think ahead at least a full round. Time of Triumph would be a lot better if it cost 0 mana. I mean, I'd play it if it cost 0 mana. As it is, though, it's just trash. Okay. Centaur mid. Deals 6 with the turn, plus 4 off Viscous Nizugu. Kills the Bristle. Equivalent trade. Pretty good trade for me. Got a guaranteed spawn into this. And plays for lane that we're committing for. If we expect the Lich to go left, which I don't think it will. I mean, it could. It's a safe lane for it. If he doesn't have a lot of black cards in hand, he could put Lich left. One of the interesting things about hero deployment is one of the major factors you have to take into consider is your own hand. If he has a hand that's light on black cards, putting Lich left is pretty fine. Puts it into this creep, which is the spawn location he wants. But it's not the color spreading he wants if he has a hand that has more black cards. So presumably he's telegraphing you some black plays to some degree. Second Nasal Goo is actually something I don't really mind here. Nasal Gooing this is pretty sweet. Nasal Goo is actually just a good card. We lost. Lane's out of control. Okay, we got the arrow. So here he'll redirect the arrow by playing a Tyler State Sensor. This conveniently will block our Nasal Goo and we'll lose the game. Fuck, we lost. Dude, Hipfire is so good. That Hipfire just literally won him the game. How do we win now? We lost. Shit. We want to trigger the anger. Using duel in a hand like this maybe is okay. I think that your threshold for using duel early should depend on your general hand state. We've got enough magic in Berserker's Call, which gives us enough reactivity in the following turns. We're buffing ourselves with anger. This is the lane we kind of want to duel in. We don't want to float the mana. It's the tempo play on the lane that matters. I think that it's fine to use there. I think that, in general, good mono red players will probably wait on their duels and calls a lot longer than bad mono red players. So I'm very skeptical to use duel early in most situations. Would not recommend it usually. We're actually pushing, we're really barreling down mid. Usually buying Blink Dagger on mana 5 is still a little early for it. And I really like the cloak. I think it's cloak float. We could buy a TP scroll. The normal thing to do is to buy the TP scroll here. I hate TP scrolls.
Red
So guaranteed spawn into Legion unless the axe goes there. Pretty good. This is an aggro deck that we have the ability to race. If we put the, so let's break down the 3 distributions, right? Let's think about where the axe is going. If the axe is going left, we want to put the timber here, right? If the axe is going mid, maybe mid is slightly better, but we're still fine if we put the timber here. If the axe is going right, we want to put the timber here, right? If the axe is going left, we actually basically win the game on the spot by putting the timber here, because he loses mobility and he strands 2 heroes in an aggro race. Axe went mid. So we just go for the best probability. We're going into the Legion, which feels good. He's defending mid, but I think we already might have the ability to push through mid with the Berserker's Call coming online. Creep into PA. Spent 5 gold. which means we're looking at a cloak. If he's got a cloak, he should use it. Actually, might think about saving it for bristle. 5 gold is always cloak, maul, jasper, or potion of knowledge. He's running Petrify's deck, which means he's running 3 cloaks. If it's jasper, he'll use it on Legion Commander. And then I'll just immediately reapply Viscous Nasal Goo, which is actually kind of funny. We'll know if it's either jasper or maul if he doesn't use it mid. If it's cloak, he has to use it mid. If it's potion of knowledge, he would have used it already, so we can rule out potion of knowledge already. If it's cloak, he wants to... If it's cloak, we actually want to wait for him to use it and then Nasal Goo his bristle back here. I think the most stable play for us is to cloak. If it's demagicking maul, we're giving him unique value to it by cloaking our centaur. I think I'm okay with my centaur dying. I think I'd rather cloak my Rising Anger target. Let's just go ahead and cloak the Legion. So this is where we find out if it's cloak or a weapon. Okay, so it is cloak. We're fine with this. Now that we didn't use our mana, we can respond to this cloak with the Viscous Nasal Goo. If it was Jasper Daggers, we would wait to use our goo here. He would Daggers to purge the first goo, and then we would re-goo to kill it. But here, we'll just goo this. We played a little safe by cloaking the Legion. The thing is, you don't want to give the opponent unique value when they otherwise are not finding value with something, right? That's kind of the most important thing. Right now, we look at this board state. If this item was demagicking maul, it would be useless on this board unless we cloaked the centaur, right? And we're just trying to block out every avenue for him to gain value.
I have you just where I want you.
Okay, so now if we want, we can, you know, start spamming Bronze Legionnaires. The sad thing is that these aren't in the Rising Anger lane. In fact, that's kind of very sad. But this is the lane that I think needs help right now. We do have to push this. It is at a lot more health. This is a consideration to only play 1, honestly. First one should go to the right of Bristle to enable Berserker's Call for better spawns into the Bristle, which is our call target. If we're playing the second one, probably to the left of Timber Saw, for kind of the same reason you want your red heroes to be centralized. Could save the other one for mid. The thing is, mid tower just needs less help than right. But the Rising Anger.
Who can stand against us?
Cloaking the Legion doesn't make you vulnerable to Axe dueling Centaur. Okay, Chocolate Milk. Great question. That is actually a fantastic question. I love that question. Fuck, really? I mean, he doesn't play anything big, guys. Like, it's funny because we have enough gold to buy it, right? But he isn't playing anything we care about. Is this good?
15 seconds remaining.
I like just buying a bunch of small items. I hate big items. We'll try it because I want to see how this goes. Let me answer your question in just a second. That's an amazing question, though. So here, his Lich is playing for defensibility. He wants to deploy in the lane which he perceives to be most defensible, which should in theory be mid. Not because... So mid has lower health, but we have a less wide lane, right? And defending means being able to play on a lane where you have the unit presence. He put Lich right, which is interesting. He might have something specific in hand that makes that better than mid. I feel like even if he knows I'm putting Legion mid, he should be putting Lich mid there. That might be... Maybe I'm missing something that seems weird. Okay. So the principle... Yeah, this does seem weird. I mean, maybe he's just deciding it's where his Lich can survive for a turn for Chain Frost.
Oh, Axe can kill some people with this.
Okay. So he's just double defending, right? I'm pretty okay with this.
I'm sorry, Commander.
Nah, that's weird. I mean, we can Berserker's Call on our axe to push additional damage. Pushing additional damage means we might be able to blink out, right? Of course, our axe is dead to combat on his axe if we do this. Let him blink first. If he's doing it. Question is, do we find additional extra value with this call? Answer is I don't think so. I want a Rising Anger here. He can't really trump us because we have Helm of the Dominator. From his perspective, we have Vesture or Helm. If he's paying attention. This card sucks so much. Why did I buy this? Forget about Helm. I could have used Helm there. It probably would have been the safer play. I kind of expected him to do something here. I don't really know why he put the Lich here. I mean, presumably he's just setting up Chain Frost value, but I mean, that's a really risky play. Maybe he had Coup and he's just deciding not to use it there. Helm mid would have been the safer play, though. I should have taken that. I didn't really see mid as the most important lane to pressure, but we can't really gain value out of it here unless he plays something into us. Okay. Rip my question? Yeah, exactly. So it's really hard to answer questions when I have to play a game at the same time. The thing is, he's going to Chain Frost us right with initiative. We basically need initiative here because of that. So we're going to have to play for mid and hope he doesn't have a way to steal initiative back to us. Presumably, he's just going to pass across mid. Actually, if he has double Chain Frost, he'll just win the game. There's nothing we can do about that. Because he'll just PA mid, Chain Frost right, and we'll lose. So, since we might be losing the game anyway, I'll answer your question. So, the question was, if we're playing around demagicking Maul by equipping Stonehook Cloak to Legion there, why don't we play around Duel by equipping Stonehook Cloak to the Centaur? So the difference between those two things is really important. I think a lot of people use the word min-maxing without understanding what it means in game theory. So min-maxing in game theory means minimizing the maximum value of each individual play by your opponent, right? When you're assuming the opponent has those cards in hand, right? Let's assume he has Maul and Duel in hand, right? The difference between those two cards is Duel is a card that will always find value, no matter when he plays it, because it's just that good. Whereas Maul is a situational card that we would be generating unique value into by not playing around it. So if you have, like, for example, Maul is kind of like, let's say, Viscous Nasal Goo, right? Playing around Viscous Nasal Goo is more important than playing around a Duel. This is a broad generalization, so don't read too much into it because it's very broad. But it's more important than playing around Duel because when Viscous Nasal Goo whiffs, it's useless. And Duel can never actually really whiff. Like, it has such stable value that it's less important to play around in that way. You play to brick value, basically. You're not playing around things that are high value. You're playing to try to make things swing in value, right? Like, let's say Duel is high value no matter when you use it, and Snot is either low value or medium value. You play around Snot because it's not about how high the value is. It's about the range of values and the difference of the value that you can generate, right? If that makes sense. So here the call is really good. Of course, we're passing him initiative here, and he'll just blow me out. I don't know. This kind of blows. If he has double Chain Frost, we'll obviously lose the game on the spot if we pass here. I mean, he will just Chain Frost us, right? We will just lose. We don't even really have, like, a way to get out of this.
Seconds remaining.
If he has Chain Frost, he gets almost as good of one mid.
5 seconds.
This feels really bad.
3, 2, 1.
This battlefield belongs to Axe.
So we're always assuming he's chain frosting us. We have to TP one of our guys now. We want to TP the one that has the Helm of the Dominator equipped, and we want to TP the Centaur because he's dealing with the tower, which means we want a Helm of the Dominator on the Centaur.
Keep me alive. I'll win
This
the
in 2
glory.
turns we'll come back for value. Usually you don't want to be TPing your item, but we want our hero to come back in a lane that's more relevant. We can poised here. We're not really in a hurry to use it. Presumably you can only gain more value later. He's not coming back next turn, so we don't really have to be afraid of him disrupting the opportunity for us to poise next turn. Unless we want to play for time. Maybe TPing the Centaur that turn was just pointless. Because we actually have no multi-hero time if he's chain frosting us right. And he has to be. That might have been a misplay.
15 seconds remaining. 3, 2.
Where did you get that weird definition of min-maxing? That's from game theory. Min-maxing is basically, it comes from the minimax theorem, which is,
This will be fun to watch.
it's basically trying to look at a game from the perspective of what your opponent will respond to your plays with, right? Yeah, we misplayed this game. So we can poise to take mid. I don't know. I mean, we might still be fine, but we did misplay this game. He bought a bunch of items here. 3 items for 17 golds. 3 items for 17 is 773. 735.
I'm ready.
Here's a
Stand
5.
with the vanguard.
It's 2 items for 12, which means it's another 5 and a 7. It's basically always another 5 and a 7. So now it's probably a maul, daggers, or potion. It's a good blink opportunity for him. If he didn't find blink from that item shop, I'd feel a lot better about this game. As it stands, this is kind of awkward. We don't really have a great initiative play. So we just have to spring and then poise the mid, basically. Yep. This is good spring value, at least. I mean, we're not playing for initiative, but I don't think we really need it here. He might be able to win the game on the spot with a call on Bristleback. Sets me to 2 health on the tower. So call plus like Bronze Legionnaire should win him the game. I mean, I can stop it with enough magic and then just time for a tie. Because we're quad deploying, which means we're doing 16 siege damage at least. Is that our win condition? Tie condition? I mean, obviously left is inevitable at this point. We're not stopping it. That's interesting. Can that be right? I guess he just might have another one on hand. I mean, there's no way that taking left this turn makes a difference, right?
I need to
Well,
prepare for battle.
yeah, there's no way that taking left this turn could make a difference. Like, I can't defend that. It's kind of bizarre. There's almost an argument to spring right from right, isn't there? Like, shouldn't I wait for him to use his mana first and then spring? God, is that weird?
15 seconds.
I mean, it depends what I draw from spot weakness, though, right?
Axe can cut through anyone. will unlock its potential.
I mean, how bad is timing one hero? Time one hero this turn? Or time, like, 4 heroes next turn? What if timing one hero is actually just proper? I mean, we're killing the 2 centaurs, right?
Five seconds remaining. 3, 2.
This is actually kind of a bitch play. I think we were actually supposed to time here. Because then we enable enough magic. I mean, timing next turn is tempting, but we don't get to enough magic. Next turn we can use Helm again. That feels pretty good. I don't know. Should have equipped phase boots first. Would have been better first play. Could have opened with enough magic as well, honestly. Instead of spot weakness. Spot weakness was just a misplay. I don't know why I did that. There's no reason to use it there.
Seconds remaining.
Survive.
I mean, we have guaranteed initiative. If we want to play defensively, we actually are better off swapping these.
Seconds remaining. 3, 2, 1.
Why is mono red popular now? Is it? I don't know. People are just kind of moving onto the mono train, basically. Vinkelsier's list is pretty optimized, but I guess a lot of people are playing like Beastmaster Tidehunter stuff too, which is kind of trolly. I can sort of kind of get behind Beastmaster. Okay, so he has like the nuts. Makes sense. Explain why I took the Berserker's Call. If you do have the nuts here. That's a crazy hand though. I mean, what is this? Disciple Oath? Is that enough on its own? I mean, you must have the nuts if you're doing this, right? Obviously, we're not like high rolling, because he only has Blink Dagger on the axe, so he's just doing the math here and leafling it out. I mean, he can still draw me with Time of Triumph off of the Blink, right? So he doesn't have it. Okay. In this case, it does look like it's going to be a tie. If he times, it's a tie. just both of us timing, right? Is there anything we're drawing off of spot weakness here? Nope.
Seconds remaining.
So I guess the question becomes, do we time? If he times, we win no matter what. If we don't time... I mean, the thing is, if we time... I mean, we still have the Dom on the Centaur, which means he still has a hard time punching through. He basically needs to coup our Centaur at that point. If he has coup and no time, then by us timing right now, we can lose. Should we helm first before timing? And then he coups us. His coup loses a lot of value in that case. I mean, if he has time... Isn't this always better? Am I crazy? Because this loses value on the coup. And if he has time, nothing matters. The only way anything could matter here is if he has coup and no time. And in that case, we want to helm him first. Because if he has coup and no time, by not helming first, we're going for a tie when we could go for a win.
Let's see what happens next.
Okay, so we're just tying anyway. Right. I mean, we need an additional chump blocker.
They are not champions.
We play around Chainfrost? That can't be right, can it? If we open with like a salve or something, or like a phase boots. Was that Chainfrost above average? That was a pretty good Chainfrost, right?
Seconds remaining.
Best in the hands of a war chief.
I mean, that's the only way to sequence this, right? Start with Dom. Enough magic on that loss, but I could win. Heck is this? Okay. I guess the best thing to do is win with Poise to Strike, right?
I'll be an example to my men.
Oh well. Yeah, Time of Triumph blows, guys.
Gay.
Like, this card actually just does nothing. Like, even when you have the mana.
Alexa, play
We should have used the
Despacito.
last turn. I knew it was a mistake to not use it on that Centaur. I think we win the game if we do that, right? If we solo time the Centaur on the second to last turn. Alternatively, we could have taken the enough magic before the gank. Either of those plays. Well, then he double ganks from the left side actually with PA, right? Isn't that even worse for us? Oh, welcome to the 1/8 gay club. N080. That is back. I mean, that was a misplay either way. You did the right play? I mean, I did the right play on the last turn of the game, but I threw on the second to last turn of the game. That should have been a 1 game pretty easily. The only thing I know is that Time of Triumph did literally nothing that game.